up, guys? I am back. The electricity was gone. It has come back. Let's go back now. I was UFO. I'm trying to get this thing ready. Okay. What is this? Alright, right here. This or this. This one. I don't know. Guys, let's play the movie for 5 minutes. Let's play.
HD 1887538. If you were standing on the surface of this planet, you would witness something that seems impossible. The sun would set over the horizon, only to be immediately followed by a second sun and then an Earth. This planet is the first one ever recorded in a type triple star system, meaning that it has not one, not two, but 3 suns. More specifically, there is a main yellow star, very similar to our own sun. And then, orbiting nearby are 2 smaller stars that dance around each other, both circling the main yellow star. If you could survive on a hypothetical moon orbiting this giant, your shadow would split into 3 different directions, and true darkness might never come as the different suns took turns lighting up the sky. Its existence also raised an unsolved scientific mystery. The planet itself is a gas giant, slightly heavier than Jupiter, and is so close to its stars that it completes a full lap around the main one in just 3.5 days. It's this proximity that creates the unsolved problem. According to the rules of how planets form, gas giants are supposed to go far away from their stars in cold areas where there is plenty of dust and gas. Later, they drift inward. But in this system, the 2 other stars are so close that they would have cut off the supply of dust needed to build a planet. There simply should not have been enough room or material for this world to grow, yet the data suggested it was there. However, we haven't talked about the most disturbing thing about this planet yet. It might be a ghost. After they announced the discovery in 2005, another team of astronomers tried to find it again in 2007. They used very powerful instruments, but found absolutely nothing. And the unsolved HD 80,660. This planet is also known as the Rip Curve, and you'll soon understand why. Here, the weather can go from freezing cold to extreme heat within. While most planets, including Earth, travel in a nice, steady circle around their star, this planet follows a path that is incredibly stretched out, looking more like a planet. For about 100 days, it drifts far away from its sun, floating in a steady darkness, but then it begins a terrifying fall. In a span of 20 hours, this world is close to and then drops back out. This close approach is vital. Our atmosphere would be ripped away and the surface would be instantly melted into magma. For this planet, the approach in just 6 hours, the temperature on the side facing the star skyrockets from roughly 932 degrees Fahrenheit to over 2,000. The star blasts more than 1,000 times the energy the Earth receives from the sun. If you were floating in the cloud tops, you would watch the sun swell up rapidly until it was 30 times larger than it does in our sky. This sudden flash prime triggers what scientists
guys.
every single second.
Let's
It is
play
possible
Hulu.
with temperatures reaching nearly 52,200 degrees Fahrenheit. Orbiting it are 3 planets that were the very first exoplanets ever confirmed, discovered back in the early 90s. To help you understand why they're called zombie planets, here's what would happen if you stood on one. You would be bathed in constant gamma radiation from the star that sterilizes everything. Since the star spins so fast while shooting out energy, it will not go up. It would look like a violent tornado flashing 100 feet per second, lighting up the alien landscape with a rapid pace. These planets are basically S2B is a gas giant similar in size to as the darkest exoplanet ever discovered. This alien world is basically pitch black, reflecting less than 1% of the light that falls on it. This makes it darker than a piece of coal or even black acrylic paint. What makes this more disturbing is that we're not 100% sure of why it's this dark. Nonetheless, we know that it's so close to its star that the temperature on the surface is over 1,490 degrees Fahrenheit. This intense heat means that reflective clouds made of ammonia simply cannot form. Instead, the atmosphere is likely filled with light-absorbing chemicals like vaporized sodium and potassium and gaseous titanium oxide. However, even these chemicals cannot fully explain why the planet is as black as it is, and the true cause remains unknown. You wouldn't see a totally black sphere. Since the planet is so hot, it emits a faint and dim red glow. It would look like a giant burning ember with hot coals of an electric stove floating in the void. WASP 17b. WASP 17b, also called Ditso, a name from Talamancan mythology referring to a god who gives names to the first people, is one of the weirdest planets in space. The thing about this planet is peculiar. It is the first retrograde orbit. In almost every star system, planets travel around their star in the same direction that the star itself spins.
I think we'll get 5 all guys.
This discovery shocked scientists because it challenged the traditional rules of how planets form, suggesting that this world had a violent
So-
history. Astronomers believe it may have been thrown into this backward loop after a near collision with another planet or a gravitational struggle that flung it off its original path. The second thing is that despite the planet being it's incredibly light. It's half of Jupiter. This makes it The planet is scorching hot with temperatures of
Let's see who are winning.
These crystals form directly from gas. WASP 127b. The atmosphere of this planet is being ripped around at speeds that break every planetary record we know. On here, winds scream around the equator at up to 20,500 miles per hour, fast enough to cross Earth from one side to the other in well under an hour. This is the fastest jet stream ever measured on a planet. Also, that wind is incredibly hot. The planet is a gas giant that's close enough to its star that 1 year is just 4 days, and its atmosphere is around 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Astronomers discovered these winds by watching how starlight passes through the planet's atmosphere during its transit. Part of the gas is
Guys.
moving toward us, part moving away, both at enormous speed. The only explanation that fits is a powerful supersonic jet stream. Racing around the Earth. These winds move almost 6 times faster than itself rotates. For comparison, the fastest winds ever measured in our own solar system, on Neptune, are only about 1,100 miles per hour. On WASP,
10 days after the hour of joy, when the factory had gone quiet and every exit was sealed, the prototype went looking for Preston Willard. Not during the chaos, not on the heat of August 8th, but after, deliberately. That detail matters more than anything else about how the scientists of Playtime Code died, because it tells you what the
Ayan.
This movie is about a man whose mouth becomes so large that he can even swallow people. At the beginning of the movie, we see a girl named Jackson trying to commit suicide by tying a rope to a ceiling fan. She is extremely depressed and has lost hope in life. She writes a suicide note, stands on a chair, puts the rope around her neck, and hangs herself. But fate seems to have something else planned for her. The fan breaks, and Jackson Jackson survives. The scene then shifts to a man named Sam and his wife Davy. Davy asks why he is late. Sam replies that he has extra work at the office. The scene shifts back to Jackson. It becomes clear that she is suffering from depression. She has no one to share her feelings with, which is why she tried to end her life. She tries calling her friend Lotus and even her mother, but she cannot reach anyone. Then she sends a message to Sam. At that time, Sam is at home, and his wife is upset with him because he only brought sandwiches for dinner. Sam notices a message from a girl named Jackson claiming to be his daughter. She says someone has been deceiving her. When Jackson tells him her mother's name, Sam is shocked. Jackson asks if they can meet. Sam tells his wife he has urgent work and leaves the house to meet her. He finds a sad-looking girl and asks if she is Jackson. She says yes. They introduce themselves, and Jackson explains that when her mother and Sam were in college, her mother became pregnant. After their breakup, her mother never told him about the pregnancy. Now her relationship with her mother is very bad. Sam is stunned because he never knew he had a daughter. He says her mother never told him anything. Jackson says she only recently found out the truth and has been searching for him since then. He cannot easily accept Jackson as his daughter. He tells her he has to loudly on her door. Frightened, she opens it, but finds no one outside. As she closes the door, she sees the big-mouthed man entering through another door. He opens his massive mouth. Jackson manages to escape. David's wife sees them together and Sam's wife pulls back the curtain and sees someone approaching their house. Jackson says it is the same man from the park who followed them. They need to leave right away. Davy refuses to let Sam go, so Jackson picks up a knife and threatens them. Seeing the knife, Davy reluctantly lets her husband leave. On the way, Jackson says they should go to her friend Lotus, who knows about strange creatures like this, and even practices some form of magic. While driving, Jackson lights a cigarette and names Sam. They also discuss their personal problems and struggles in life. At this time, Sam's wife calls him because she is very worried. Sam does not answer the phone, but he sends her his location, so... There's a wild party going on. Everyone is trying to a name, Chompy, but Lotus is so intoxicated that she cannot properly understand what Jackson is saying. Eventually, they somehow convince Lotus to get into the car and take her home. On the way, Lotus asks, "What do you actually want from me?" Jackson replies that she wants Lotus to create a magical circle so that Chompy cannot come near them or harm them. While driving, they suddenly see the girl in the pink jacket, the same girl whom the big-mouthed man had swallowed in the park. Jackson stops the car and approaches her. The girl looks terrified. Jackson asks what happened, but the girl cannot explain clearly. Just then, Jackson sees Chompy approaching them. They quickly pull the girl into the car and drive away. On the way, the girl says her name is Par. She claims she does not know the big-mouthed man. Eventually, they reach Lotus's house. Sam notices Jackson taking drugs and becomes furious. He snatches the packet from her hand and throws it on the ground. Jackson says angrily, "You don't know what's going on in my life. You don't know how depressed I am. That's why I do these things." Hearing this, Sam feels deeply hurt. Meanwhile, Lotus asks Parr to get out of the car, but the girl refuses in fear. Finally, Sam convinces her to step out. Jackson urges Lotus to draw the magical circle immediately so the monster cannot attack them, but Lotus faints due to intoxication. Jackson takes her inside and lays her on the bed. While searching the room, Jackson finds an old book containing information about strange creatures from another world. When she comes out of the room, she sees Sam lying unconscious on the floor. The little girl is sitting on top of him, as if trying to bite and eat his face. But as soon as she sees Jackson, she runs away in fear. Jackson quickly tries to wake Sam. When he regains consciousness, he says it felt like someone was eating his face. Jackson opens the book again and finally finds information about the creature, a monster that eats people. Meanwhile, they notice that one of Sam's legs is slowly transforming into a child's leg. Sam is shocked and horrified. Jackson tries to calm him down. At that moment, Sam reveals that he has called his wife and asked her to come there. Jackson becomes angry and decides to leave, but suddenly they hear a noise outside. They go outside and see Chompy standing there. Though terrified, they gather some courage and try to talk to him. Sam asks, "Why did that try to me? And why is my leg turning like this?" Jackson also asks, "What do you want from us? Why are you following us?" Chompy growls and gestures for them to come inside his mouth. Trembling with fear, Jackson slowly enters Chompy's enormous mouth first. She signals Sam to follow, and with no other option, Sam enters as well. Inside, they hear a strange voice. It is Chompy's voice. He says, "Welcome. I have come here to capture a demon called the Shadow Parasite. The little girl you met has the Shadow Parasite hidden inside her body. That demon is biting people and turning them into its own kind. It attacked you as well. That is why Sam's leg is transforming into a child's leg." Chompy further explains that if they cannot find and destroy the Shadow Parasite, their bodies will slowly transform into clones of that little girl. At this point, Sam and Jackson finally understand why Chompy swallowed the girl in the park, and why the little girl who tried to bite Sam was actually a clone of the same girl from the park. Chompy further explains that once the Shadow Parasite is destroyed, everything, including Sam's leg, will return to normal. After saying this, Chompy releases Jackson and Sam from his mouth. Although they do not fully understand everything Chompy said, they feel relieved. They now realize that Chompy was not trying to harm them, but to help them. Just as they are about to leave, Sam's wife, Debbie, suddenly arrives. By accident, she runs Chompy over with her car and kills him. Jackson breaks down in tears, saying Chompy was trying to help them, and now he is dead. She asks, "What are we going to do now?" Debbie suggests calling the police, but instead, Jackson and Sam hide Chompy's body in the trunk of their car. Afterwards, they go to a restaurant to eat. At the restaurant, Jackson tells Sam that he is completely controlled by his wife. Sam gets angry and says the most important thing now is to find the little girl and make her understand that what she is doing is wrong. He also says he believes there are many more clones of the girl wandering around. Jackson does not like her father's attitude at all. The scene shifts to the little girl again. She is seen asking another girl for help. Meanwhile, Jackson finally agrees to try talking to the clones. As they set out, Sam says he has a feeling the little girl is somewhere nearby. During this time, Jackson opens up to him about her mental struggles. Suddenly, they spot two more girls on the street who look exactly like the little girl. More clones. Jackson gets out of the car and manages to catch one of them before they escape. She locks the clones in the trunk. Then, the man sees this and thinks they are kidnapping the child. He tries to call the police, but Jackson attacks him and he runs away in fear. They take the captured clone to Jackson's apartment and tie her to a chair. Jackson calls Lotus and asks her to bring Chompy's body there. Soon, Jackson notices that many clones have surrounded her apartment. She suggests torturing the captured clone, thinking hurting one might weaken the others, but no one agrees. The clones block all entrances and try to break in. Lotus arrives, but sees that her car is also surrounded. Jackson asks Lotus to draw a magical circle, but Lotus admits she cannot. She is not a real magician. Meanwhile, Sam is attacking Debbie. But then notices that her hand has started transforming
Nice.
into a child's hand.
Let's lock
They
him.
are terrified. Jackson fights off some clones and asks Lotus to open the trunk.
You know I'm playing a game for killing people.
To transfer the shadow parasite into her own body so she can fight it. As soon as the parasite enters Jackson, all the clones
No.
outside transform to look like Jackson. She commands them to enter Chompy's mouth. As they go inside, they return to their original forms. Inside Chompy's mouth, it's the shadow parasite. Sam joins her, and together they manage to pull the parasite out of Jackson's body. However, the portal begins to close, and they are trapped. At the last moment, Lotus and Debbie use a rope to pull them out safely. Everyone embraces each other in tears of joy. The little girl is happy to see her parents restored to normal. All the people who had been turned into clones regain their true forms. Jackson blames herself for everything, but Lotus tells her it was not her fault and apologizes instead. They hug each other warmly. When someone asks the little girl who Sam is, she says, "This is my father." Debbie finally accepts Jackson as part of the family, and in this way, their family becomes complete, and the movie ends.
We all have something in common. It's Pocket Broker. For 35 million users, it's an easy way to start. Open a free demo and explore the tools.
Guys, I am done.
Withdraw anytime with no fees. Pocket Broker, the right way to start.